Today's review is for Jumanji: The Next Level, starring Dwayne Johnson, Alex Wolff, Karen Gillan, Morgan Turner, Jack Black, Madison Eisman, Kevin Hart, Sir Blaine, Nick Jonas, Colin Hanks, Awkwafina, Danny DeVito, Danny Glover, and Roy McCann, and is the sequel to Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, which was also a sequel to the 1995 Jumanji starring Robin Williams, and centers on our main cast of characters from the last film, Bethany, Martha, and Fridge, who are looking for Spencer. They go to his grandfather Eddie's house, and they find out that he's repaired the game after they destroyed it in the last movie, and they decide to go back and get him out. But there comes a mix-up when Martha is the only one to stay as their previous avatar, as Fridge is now Shelly, Spencer's grandpa is Bravestone, and his friend Milo has become Moose. And they also find out that the game has changed since last time, and they now embark on a whole new journey to save the world of Jumanji once again. For those who want to know my thoughts on the first film with Robin Williams, I'd say it was alright. I mean, it wasn't anything too special, although it might have a soft spot in some other people's hearts. But for me, it's just a fun popcorn movie that I'm sure is mostly just remembered because it starred the late great Robin Williams. It had a couple kind of iffy and kind of cringy stuff a couple of times, and it has visuals that really don't age well, but overall, it's okay. The sequel, Welcome to the Jungle, that came out in 2017, definitely went in a much different direction. In the first film, it was a board game. In the sequel, it was a video game. And I'm not gonna lie, I think I actually like the sequel much more than the first film. I mean, come on, I'm not going to say that the first film is better just because of Robin Williams. May he be resting well. So I don't see anything wrong with me saying that I liked the sequel with Black Adam more than the original with Mrs. Doubtfire. Okay? But yeah, I really liked the second movie. It had more likable characters, the humor was genuinely amusing all around. It had some pretty fun action sequences, and even paid some great respect to Robin Williams. Sure, the villains were pretty forgettable and all, but it was a huge pleasure to see all these actors just go against their usual character traits. Except for Kevin Hart. He basically does the same thing he usually does, but he does it right. Kevin Hart is the one guy who knows how to do a Kevin Hart performance. So when I heard that they were making a sequel, like a third installment, I was looking forward to it. Was I expecting a better film? No, not really, but I was hoping to relive some of those fun vibes I got from the second movie in the theater again. And did I get that this time around? Yes, I did. Although, as I was expecting, Welcome to the Jungle was significantly better than this one. That's not to say that this one isn't hilarious in its own right. It really is. But at times, the humor can feel pretty forced. The way the game changes isn't really explained at all. And if anything, it's in a way kind of on par with the original Jumanji. It's fun, but it also has some pretty sore stuff here and there. Starting with what I liked, I can definitely say that the main cast returning is a definite delight. Even the real-life characters outside of the avatars in the movie, outside of the game, it was good to see how they moved on after the events of the first film. We first see them in the real world, going on with their days. Then, of course, when they go back to the game because they find out Spencer has repaired it and gone back in, it's definitely a more fun joy ride. They have new powers and weaknesses, there's a new villain, there are new playable characters, and it's all around a blast to see everyone, once again, not playing their usual character types. It's great stuff. And also, I'd like to talk about Danny DeVito and Danny Glover in this movie. They actually have the most interesting dynamic in the whole film. And it's not even just comic relief. I mean, yeah, it's that too, but there's also some genuinely well done characterization between them. Grandpa Eddie and his friend and this guy Milo were friends who had a falling out years ago. And in the game, they're arguing back and forth, but eventually, we start to see them getting along once again. And part of this is because we actually learn a pretty genuinely terrible, dark, and sad reveal for Milo in the movie. And the conclusion to the character of Milo in this film is what surprised me the most. Also, we get a new villain this time around named Jurgen the Brutal, played by Roy McCann, who you would remember as the Hound in Game of Thrones. And I actually liked this villain more than Bobby Cannavale's Russell Peltz in the last movie. Sure, he's another pretty generic, big, tough guy villain, but he was a more badass and more kind of intimidating villain than Pelt was. Plus, his character actually has a surprising connection to the Dr. Bravestone Avatar character. But yeah, Jurgen was definitely a much cooler antagonist. I like him. Also, I really liked the action even more this time around. I mean, sure, the action in the last one was pretty fun and exciting, but here there's definitely a bit more genuine intensity to the whole thing. For example, there's a scene where the characters have to cross a bunch of rotating bridges, and they get chased by mandrills. And it's a genuinely pretty intense sequence. The detail and the visuals of the mandrills is really good. The music makes the adrenaline of the scene go higher, and is overall an awesome sequence. I can definitely imagine this entire scene being a level in a Tomb Raider game. It was pretty amazing. Now, as for what I didn't like, there are only really a couple things. Like I said earlier, it has jokes that feel pretty forced. Like, there's one scene in an elevator with characters talking to each other, and the conversation they have had me kind of cringing silently. It was just not funny. In fact, it was actually pretty gross. They also have this one pretty easy level joke with that involves Dwayne and Kevin doing their best to act like old people. Again, both DeVito and Glover / Johnson and Hart do great jobs at portraying these two intertwined characters. But at times, they do that kind of cliche joke of them not quite remembering what was told to them seconds ago. Where are we? We're in a video game. Where are we? Are we in Florida? I mean, it wasn't terrible like that elevator scene, but it was just the easiest joke they could have done. I mean, come on. I know old people are old, and yeah, sometimes some old people are kind of like that, but come on. I wish they could just not do that this time around and have them do more clever jokes with it. I mean, I know humor is incredibly subjective. I mean, it always is. I mean, I enjoyed Pixels for f***'s sake. But even I find it in stereotypical old people jokes to be overdone and lame nowadays. It's not that funny anymore. I wish they'd realize that and try something else. Also, the way the game changed isn't really explained at all. I mean, I know it's magic. I know the game is magic. Like in the second film, we literally see an opening scene where the board game turns itself into the video game through magic. But it isn't really explained whether or not the game changed itself or if somehow Spencer accidentally changed it all around when he was repairing it. They don't really tell us at all. I mean, you'd think that it would kind of stay the same since Spencer fixed it, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a bit too overly realistically critical about a relic that can do anything without science. Who knows? So yeah, I didn't really like the next level as much as Welcome to the Jungle. I thought it was still a decent time. It was another fun candy salad movie that can be viewed and enjoyed enough. I mean, if you were a fan of the last one and really wanted to see how they could pull off a sequel, then yeah, I can surely say that this is for you. Just don't expect it to be as good as the last one. I'm gonna give Jumanji, The Next Level, a 7 out of 10. Oh, and by the way, I'm pretty sure you guys know exactly what I'm planning to review next week. Anyways, that was my review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time, and peace out.